Welcome back, guys, to a brand new live stream on my channel. Hope you're all having a good day. 1 second. Welcome back to a brand new live stream. Now, for those of you guys that are, or that's not focused on the markets, what's been happening lately is a massive shit show. You guys already know the Bitcoin is dropping aggressively. The S&P looks like is on a rug pull. This much drop for the stock market is not realistically healthy. We had drops like this previously, but that was the start of a bear market. Now, we are in a very I would say weird situation, because the reality is we could potentially head into a recession quite early than a lot of people are predicting. It is possible. Now, do I think that's not my base case, but you don't know what these guys are going to do. The market is unpredictable. You have to think, if these tariffs are actually going to start a massive trade war, which I think the only countries that can actually start this trade war is either China or the EU. So it is a bit difficult to kind of say right now which way the market's going to go. There is a few issues I would say has come from the tariffs. One of the major ones is, if you look at the Japanese bond market, is basically the 10-year bond is at all-time highs damn near. So you have to look into the Japanese carry trade, because there is trillions, approximately 5 to 6 trillion sitting in the carry trade, and a lot of people do tend to go to the Japanese bonds as a safe haven, because yes, gold is also a safe haven, but gold is at all-time highs. No one's going to be buying gold up here apart from retail. The only people that's pushing the price of gold up now is retail investors. They're hearing their friends talk about gold new all-time highs, and they're going to be buying it now, maybe pushing it slightly higher. But a majority of the smart investors started buying gold over here, and then some of them started accumulating over here. But a majority of this rally, I would think is retail investors. So gold is overdue for a pullback. I do think gold will pull back. However, that's not really going to affect the markets, because if we're heading to a recession early, you have to. The Japanese carry trade can really affect the markets. One of the biggest uncertainty is if they do raise rates, you are going to see a lot more further, downturn in the markets. If you look at the VIX, the highest point the VIX has gone in recent times was when, August, when the VIX literally whipped up to 30, from all the way down from 12, all the way to 30, 34, 35. And that was during the August carry trade crash. Now, I do think we're well overdue for another one of those events. I mean, if you look over here, any single time you see the VIX slightly go higher, you have some sort of weird event where the market shoots up aggressively. This was the COVID times when the VIX almost went to 100. No, actually, I think it touched 100. Now, I do think we're well overdue for another one of these events, and I do think 9 times out of 10 it will most likely come from the carry trade, because the BOJ has said they are very likely to raise rates if inflationary pressure broadens. Now, if you look at the CPI for the Japanese, it was expected to come in a lot lower than it was. It came in 0.2 basis higher than what they predicted. The inflation 2 months ago shot from 2.2% or 2.6% or I think it was 2.5 all the way to like 3.2%. So the inflationary pressure is very high, and it doesn't look like it's going to slow down because of wage inflation in Japan. So because of that reason, I'm more or less convinced that, I would say 8 times out of 10 that the Japanese will raise the rates at the end of this month. Now, a lot of the early investors will already, be kind of pricing in now. So before the market could actually go up, these guys have already sold. If not, they're selling right now, which is one of the main reasons why we're seeing this massive crash in the stock market. Bitcoin experienced it yesterday. Bitcoin, because you don't need a lot of liquidity, it tends to move, and it's always tradable 24 hours, so it moves all the time. So when we've seen this pump all the way up here and get rejected off the trend line, and it was a fake breakout, came straight back down. The market, the crypto market is a pre-indicator for the stock market. Stock market yesterday was up here, today it's down here when the market opened. So I do think we will most likely 9 times out of 10 experience a bit more, downtrend. It could even happen for another month. And one of the things we have to look for is the data that comes out consistently, because these are the data points that the Fed is going to use to decide if they're going to raise rates or not. They're not going to raise rates, but they're going to cut rates or keep it the same. If you look at initial jobless claims, it came in a lot lower than they were predicting. 225, it came in 219. However, continuing jobless claims came in a lot higher than they were predicting. So there's a little bit of mixed data. The initial claims looked okay. The lower it is, it means the economy is doing okay. Less people are claiming jobless benefits. But the continuing, is it's not a good indicator, meaning that more and more people now are continuously claiming benefits because they can't find a job, even though there is jobs open supposedly. We'll find out tomorrow what non-farm payroll is, because that tells you how much jobs the US government is actually opening. So non-farm payroll comes in tomorrow, and it's predicted to come in either 100 or 35, 100k or 135k, which is quite low. You would think it would be a lot higher than what it is, but this is quite low. At one point, this was really, really high. Unemployment is forecasted to either come in 4.1 or 4.2. Now, if it does come in 4.2, I do think it will most likely come in higher than 4.1. If it does come in 4.2, it gives the Fed a little bit more room to actually cut more rates. If you look at the ISM PMI, this is a very good indicator for recessions. When it goes, if you look at the wicks during the recession, it tends to go really, really low. During these times was when the recession talks last year was happening a lot more than it's happening now. But it's at a decent level. It's not, it's not recession territories at the moment. However, it did come in a lot lower than they predicted. So it shows a slowdown in the economy, and this is the type of signs that Powell looks for when he wants to decide if he wants to cut rates or not. So he's going to be speaking tomorrow. That's going to be a key event to look forward to. The tariffs, well, not the tariffs, but the trueflation is actually 1.38%. This just shows how restrictive the Fed actually is in cutting rates. Now, they made a mistake before where they cut 50 basis points in September. It kind of caused inflation to rally back up. But inflation never came down to 2.4% ever. I think it was just a bunch of manipulating the data to make the Democrats look better for the election. And when the election was over, the inflation just shot back up to its previous range. So this is what a lot of people are kind of scared about. They're scared of sticky inflation where it doesn't really go up, but it doesn't really want to go down either. So it kind of consolidates, and people want inflation to come down so the cost of living goes down. But if you look at the 10-year and the 2 years, these have taken a massive dump, meaning that people are locking in the yield, which means people are actually de-risking. People are either locking in the yield from whatever it is, 4.2, 3.5, I think 4% of the 10-year, 3.7. So if the one bond market goes down, all that it means is that more people are running to bonds as a safe haven. You look into, BTC. If you look at the dollar, the dollar has taken a massive dump. Massive dump on the dollar. I can guarantee you the euro is going to be going a lot higher. Maybe the British pound has gone a lot higher. A lot of investors have gone into UK and Euro bonds or stocks, which is quite weird. I don't think the S&P, or I think a majority of smart investors is selling the magnificent seven, you call it. Meta, Google's down 20%, Apple is down 17%, Nvidia is down 24%. This is the Magnificent Seven. This is a majority of the stock market. These 5 or 7 companies, Tesla as well. Tesla's down probably like 50% from the all-time highs. So these are moving like fucking meme coins, these massive stocks that are worth billions. A lot of people are looking at these stocks and they think they're overpriced. I think Buffett was going to the Japanese stock market. He sold a lot of his Apple and Google and the Magnificent Seven stocks, and he was going into the Japanese stock market. It's quite weird. I think they're expecting, I think it's very likely that we will visit the low 70s at some point, and it won't happen within the next day or two. It will happen sometime at the end of the month or just before we get a rate cut, because the Fed needs a reason to cut rates. And inflation being as low as it is, unemployment could potentially go higher tomorrow. ISM is coming down lower than expected. All of this just indicates a higher chance of a rate cut. This yesterday, let me go. Where is it? Is that for me? This is going to fluctuate tomorrow. If you see unemployment go higher, they're going to see this come down or go up maybe 30-40%. If you see, I think by June, we'll most likely will have a rate cut. It's at the moment priced in 64% chance that we'll get a rate cut in June. However, I personally think the chances of a rate cut in May is going to go a lot higher than only 23%. I do think there's a high chance that we will most likely get a rate cut in May. And the reason is because, if you look at the inflation rate, is a lot lower than what the Fed is predicting or what they think it is. Trueflation is everything up to date. So it's a lot lower, than what the Fed actually thinks it is. I think at the moment, core inflation or inflation is like 3%, 2.9%. And I think unemployment is going to slowly trend higher. And I think the word recession is going to be a lot more prominent in the next couple of weeks. And I think a lot more people are going to scream the word recession because of these tariffs. We just have to wait to see if these other countries are going to increase their tariffs or reciprocal tariffs on the US, because then the market is really going to get shaken out. If you get some countries, you're going to get a mixture of both. You're going to get some countries that's going to fold. Canada has already folded. Mexico has folded. They said if we remove the tariffs, if the US remove the tariffs from us, we will remove the tariffs from the US. So you're going to see a lot of the weak countries, they most likely will fold and remove the tariffs, if not lower the tariffs. And Trump will most likely do the same thing. However, the bigger companies like China, which is getting 54% tariffs because it was 34%, but they already put 20% tariffs on China previously. So it's 54% tariffs on China, which is not ideal for the US citizen in the short term, because all the goods coming from China is going to be more expensive now. And what these tariffs actually do in the short term is these companies that's going to get tariffed more because of the tariff wars, the trade wars, they have to increase their price slightly or whatever amount it is to match the tariff prices, because they're not going to cut their profits. They're just going to increase the price and people will most likely still buy it. So that's something we have to look out for as well. Apparently, Canada wants reciprocal tariffs. Maybe these changed, but earlier today, they said that if the US removes the tariffs, so will America. I mean, if the other way around, sorry, if America removes the tariffs, so will Canada. So it all depends. Let's go over some of the comments before we continue. Jobin, good to see you. Silver, Alexa, good to see you. Tony, Silver, Beam, good to see you. You guys like the thumbnail? Merkel, good to see you, buddy. You guys enjoyed. Can you share your mind on Japanese bonds, dollar, and VIX? Yeah, so when the VIX, I already spoke about the Japanese. I think it's very likely with the 10-year bond, bond market being so high, it's very, very likely that they will raise interest rates or they will hike one more time end of this month in April. So you do have to be wary of that. Maybe, I don't know, get some cash on the side, or it's going to be a good buying opportunity, because what you're going to see is, and this happens every single time, you're going to see a massive spike in the VIX. And when the VIX spikes up, it means you put either trades on or you go long, either one, or either you buy spot or this, when this wicks up, most people get scared to buy. But every single time the VIX has gone above 30, is come down almost every time, meaning that investors, either even if they trade the markets, they buy up the dip, and the market will by program go up. So when that happens, if the VIX goes 30, 32, 33, is the perfect time to buy. You have to buy, even if it's for like a day trade, 2 day trade, it doesn't matter. You can make 20, 30, 15%, but you can go heavier. That's the point. These trades, yes, a 30% on like 5 to 10K is a good amount of money that you can make in the space of a day or two. So trade the VIX. The VIX is a good indicator. It always works. The dollar is most likely going to come down slightly more before rallying. I do think the dollar will come back up at some point. I think most people go into other safe havens. The dollar was a safe haven at some point, but most people either go to gold or they go to the Japanese, either currency. Look at the Japanese yen. Shut up. This is not healthy. This is when they intervened before, back over here, and back in August times. They did it came really low, and now it's shooting back up. Everyone's going into the Japanese yen, or they're going into the Japanese bond market, because that's where the safe havens are at the moment. Dominance actually spiked up to 63%, which is quite high. I do think it'll most likely retrieve this wick at some point. I do think the dominance will go to 64%, maybe 65%. We don't know. A lot of people are calling for 70. I don't think 70 is going to happen. I think before, when it did hit 70, the stablecoin market was not as prominent. Most people did not, they didn't trust the stablecoin market. So when everything went to shit, they just ran to Bitcoin, because Bitcoin went a lot, went down less than the altcoins. So people went to Bitcoin, and dominance, that's why it shot up to 70 last cycle. I don't think that same thing's going to happen this cycle. A lot of people are calling for 70. I don't see it happening, just because of how prominent the stablecoin market is at the moment. With stablecoin regulation already happening, I think the stablecoins are going to be a lot more. They're going to take a lot more dominance, than people think it will. Unemployment claims showed good data in the case, still 2 to 3 rate cuts this year. Unemployment data has not come out yet, my friend. The claims have, but the continuing claims is going higher. It means more people are finding it hard to find a job. So yes, layoffs are low, but finding jobs is just as hard. I'm surprised initial claims is that low. I think that's a lot of bullshit. I don't think it should be that low. I think way more people are unemployed than these guys are reported. You got to keep in mind, a lot of this data is manipulated and lied. Most people, a lot of these data have been lied for all throughout the last 3 to 4 years, because otherwise they would have already announced a recession. There's no reason for them not to announce a recession when we had 2 negative consecutive GDPs. And we're kind of seeing that now, because if you look at the Atlantic Fed, they're predicting negative GDP. Now, I think we could get a case of maybe 1 negative GDP. I don't think they will do it, consistently. It wouldn't be good. So the chances of us going to recession, maybe, I don't know, maybe we get a landing in the next 3 to 4 months, is going higher and higher as time goes on. Because, you can still get a landing without the Fed starting the printing machine straight away. You get a landing, the Fed will start cutting interest rates, to almost zero, and then 9 times out of 10, they will start the printing machine. There's no other option for these guys. But I do think Trump is playing the game where there's a lot of debt to be refinanced, and you can't refinance the debt when the yields are so high. So he's going to obviously bring the dollar down, which he's already doing a good job of. And he's also going to bring the yields down. When the yields go down, he's going to refinance the debt. And then they're going to look to, stimulate from somewhere, whether it's from the private sector, whether it's through, tax cuts, whatever it is, whether it's through stimmy checks, whatever way it is going to stimulate from one direction. Because at the moment, the reason negative GDP is a lot lower than, what people predicted is because of Doge. Doge is cutting a lot of that spending, and most of that spending from GDP comes from government spending. So the reason GDP is going to go lower is because Doge is going to keep cutting that government spending. 25% of GDP is government spending. If you start cutting that, GDP is going to get a massive drag on. You're going to get a massive drag on GDP. You're going to get, they're going to. I think they're laying off a lot more people as well. I don't know what they're going to do with that at the moment, but that's gonna cause a little bit more uncertainty in the short term as well. And that's something to consider. I think the chances of interest rates by the Bank of Japan later this month are reduced now as yen becomes stronger against the dollar. It's not about. There's two ways the Japanese can prevent, prevent themselves from raising the interest rates. One of them is currency manipulation. So what they do is when the dollar is strong, they'll buy a bunch of the dollar, and then they'll use the dollar to buy back the yen, therefore, bringing the dollar down and pushing the price of the yen up. It's called currency intervention. Now, they've been doing this recently, but what the main problem for Japan lies is the inflation. The currency itself isn't a problem, because if you look at the Japanese yen, it's shooting up because the dollar is coming down. So the yen is showing a lot more strength against the dollar. But what the Japanese is scared of is inflation, inflationary pressures. The CPI rose 0.2%. The inflation went up 0.5%, came down back to 2.9, but that's a lot higher than what they want it to be. So, what's really going to cause them to raise the interest rates is the inflation. So, if the inflation number comes in a lot cooler than, this month than they predicted, then the chance of them raising will go lower. But the current moment, last month's data did not look good for them to, keep rates the same. It looks like they're going to raise it. Now, when the data comes this month and the inflation has come down or cooled off, then there's a chance that they won't raise. But if it goes up again, then it is almost guaranteed that that is going to happen. I mean, this article came out a few days ago, well, 26th of March. I think a lot of the carry trade is slowly unwinding now. That's why you see such a sharp drop in the stock market. I think tariffs are mostly played out. I think what causing a lot of this crash is the carry trade unwinding slowly. It's not fully unwinding. There's a lot of money in the carry trade. When is Biden coming back? We need Sleepy Joe back, bro. That's what we need. Martin, it's good to see you, my friend. Biden died a couple of weeks. It's not a new marketing tactic, Khalid. It's just what's happened, bro. He's fucked up the whole market. Tumib, good to see you. Bizarre circumstances. Heavy shakeout. Yeah. Mugen, good to see you. Fam. I think the market all right priced in all the news and actually panic sold. I do think most of the tariffs is priced in. I think it's very, very clear to people now what the tariffs are. So, you're going to see. I think most of it is priced in the short term. The only thing that has not been priced in is what other governments respond to the tariffs. So, if for example, if half of the countries or 60, 70% of the countries start reducing tariffs on America, then they're also going to have to reduce the tariffs, because America's only charging them half of the tariffs that they put in on America. So, if Canada gets rid of all the tariffs on America will do the same, and vice versa. If they raise, America will raise again. Trump has already said he's ready to raise. So, I think most of it is priced in, but I do think you're going to see a little bit more volatility in the coming weeks, depending on what country respond. Because Japan, China, and South Korea, I think it was, have teamed up to do I can't say the word, reciprocal tariffs. EU, Germany, and France is apparently going to raise tariffs as well. That's what the rumors are. We don't know at the moment. We don't know what these guys are talking about behind closed doors when they're having these meetings, because these guys are having regular phone call meetings. We don't know what they're talking about. Because what Trump is realistically doing, because he's cutting a lot of the government spending and he's causing a drag in GDP, I don't think he wants to go into a recession, because he could do it and blame Biden. That's one route he could take. But a lot of these politicians don't like to get into a recession because of their poll. Their ratings will go down. People want them out. It just doesn't look good for them. So that's why they hate recessions. However, he can get away with it if he blames Biden. But everyone's just going to blame him anyways. They're going to blame him. They're going to blame Musk. So I don't really see these guys actually going in a recession. I think the fact that they're cutting GDP, they have to get money from somewhere else to pay off the debt. The debt is out. The debt to GDP is outrageous. It's like 100 and something percent. That's not healthy for a country of America's size, the biggest economy in the world. It's not healthy. They've printed too much money over the years, and now we're paying the prices of that printed. It's going to be some short-term pain, but the end goal is going to be bullish. We could get an extended cycle all the way to like late 2026, where Bitcoin can really, really push to the 200K, if not higher. There's a very good chance, that Bitcoin could go as high as 200K, if not higher. But we are going to see some short-term pain before that happens. We're kind of already seeing it, but we could see a little bit more depending on more volatility and uncertainty. Despite all the bearish news, Bitcoin is still above 80K, 81K, which is crazy to think. You would have thought Bitcoin would have, a lot of people did think that we would have already been down here already after the tariff announcements. It's holding up a lot better than people think. But the S&P is not looking good. S&P is looking very weak. Tomorrow it could rally if unemployment comes in strong, or non-farm payrolls comes in okay. There's a chance of a rally. There's a chance. But ideally, if we want more rate cuts, we want unemployment to kind of loosen up. I wouldn't keep buying the dip. I don't think that's a smart solution. Unless the way I do it personally is I buy $20, $30, $40, $50 here and there. That doesn't mean I buy $50 to $100 every day, because it doesn't make sense. You can't buy every day, because some days the price is going to go up 10-15%. You don't buy then. You buy when your previous range goes either below or at the same level as it was before. Or you could do scalping. So what I do is, with USDT I have on the side, I scalp specific coins. Ondo, Su are some of the best coins to scalp. When the price goes down, especially on sharp wicks, they bounce 5-10% every time. I mean, just look at that volatility. You can trade every single one of these moves over here for decent gains. I mean, if you look at this is what I do at least. If you buy anywhere around here, 74, 73, keep your eye on it. You could sell up here for a 20% pump. Not bad. That's a decent pump. If you put 4 or 5 grand into it, you can easily make a few $100, which is good. You're taking less risk. Over here to up here, 10%. You keep scalping 5, 10, 15%. Over the months, you can make some decent money to buy your favorite projects. When I make money on these scalps, on these trades, what I do is I just add it to my existing long-term bags that I think will do well in the future. The best thing to do now is look at your projects and look at what they're doing. Look at the developments of the projects and look for the ones that are just kind of abandoned the project, because those are the ones that are going to die out. It means that the team is only here for the short term. Look how many of these AI agent coins have just completely died out. There's only a handful of them that are still around, still developing. Those are the ones that's going to do well. The only thing you should focus on now, because selling now is kind of retarded. You're basically selling damn near the bottom. The best thing to do is just look at your projects. What are they doing? Are they developing? Are they releasing their mainnet? Are they getting more partnerships? Are they getting real world utility? Web 2 companies backing them, or are they getting more customers? This is what you should look for. And one of the I would say one of the strongest projects that I have the most conviction in is OORT. OORT just non-stop develops. If you look at this is massive for OORT. That's 800 million tokens being burnt, which the proposal has gone through with 92% people are saying yes, they want to burn these. Now, what this does is this knocks off 40% of the FTV from OORT's fully diluted market cap. So you're going to see 40%. So you're going to see 60K or 60 million. Sorry, that's massive. Damn near 60 million or 58 million, whatever. It's still very good. That's a massive reduce, in market cap to FTV. This is what the miners were worried about. In the proposal, it said the miners don't like the market cap to FTV, so we want to burn 40% of the supply. And then just today, Guess what they've done today? They've just launched the first decentralized in-car voice data set on Kaggle. Kaggle, what is Kaggle? Kaggle is what is it? 100 data points gathered from all Data Hub decentralized marketplace available on Kaggle, Google's leading data science platform. When I said these guys are backed by Google, this is a prime example of them doing, or getting paid from Google to do something with the Data Hub. So when you guys are, taking pictures of these cars, inside the cars, the engines or whatever, what you're doing is you're actually creating you're training AI models for specific tasks. And then what OORT does is OORT goes and find customers for those AI specific models or the Data Hub tasks, and they make money from it. And then what they do with that money that you guys as the community is helping this project make, they burn 800 million tokens, therefore reducing the scarcity, making the token more scarce, therefore the price goes up. They do buybacks and burns. This is the value of OORT. They make money because they rely on the community to make money. So when people say, oh, if OORT is making $12 million every week or every month or every year, whatever it is, why did it need the token? Well, the reason they need the token is because of the nodes. The reason OORT can do what they want, and at such a level is because of the decentralized nodes. That's what makes it decentralized. And the reason they can find new customers like Kaggle, is because of the people that's training those AI models on the Data Hub. So everything relies on the community, and that's why these guys, do whatever they can to reduce the price of the token, because the more people that become aware of OORT, the more customers they'll find in the Data Hub, more people will sign up, more nodes will get introduced. This is projects like this that rely on the token is what you need to buy, because no matter where the market goes, these guys will still develop, these guys will still be around. Some of the projects won't be around in a bear market. I don't think any of my projects will do that, but there's hundreds of projects that will just disappear in the next couple of months. A lot of them will rug pull, they just disappear. And they were bullish 3 to 4 months ago when everything was pumping. And a prime example of this, a lot of these AI agent coins, majority of them will disappear. They won't come back because they were here for the hype, and now the hype is dead. And then they notice the coins going down. They're going to keep selling, farm it as much as they can, and it's just going to, the coin's just going to die and rug pull. That's it. My prediction, let's see. I think Bitcoin has a high chance of going past 150K if Trump's plan actually plays out. If it plays out, you're going to get massive tax cuts, you're going to get stimulus, you're going to get a good economy, you're going to get a lot more manufacturing, a lot more jobs. And because of that, the power can afford to ease a lot quicker. You don't really need QE for a massive pump. You just need an end to QT. And I think with this current market conditions, I think it speeds up the process a lot faster for the Fed to actually stop QT completely. Khalid, I appreciate the £10 tariff dump, Mubarak. Uncertainty is high, volatility is increasing, global reaction to Trump's war are expected. With escalation tensions, Iran side, I don't think the war, between Iran and America will happen. I think that's very, very unlikely. I think anyone that believes that is just getting manipulated by the news. You have to think, in reality, Trump does not want wars, especially in the current environment. Iran is not just some pushover country. They have very capable, they have a lot of good missiles that's capable of hitting any target they want in the Middle East. We've already seen it with Israel when they hit specific targets in Israel, and most of the Iron Dome could not do anything against a lot of their ballistic missiles. And what Iran will do is they will cause an economic collapse. And the reason is because all the oil in the Middle East and the Persian Gulf, every single one of them will get destroyed, meaning that no oil from the Middle East will leave the Middle East. And what that does for these countries that run on oil, is going to cause an economic collapse. So, unless Trump is completely retarded, which I would not put it past him, the chances of a war is very unlikely with Iran. I'm sure the people around Trump know the capabilities, from Israel's first-hand experience. So when that happens, and all these oil facilities in the Middle East get destroyed, it's just going to cause the whole world to go into a massive global recession. So I don't really see that war happening unless they just, Trump is retarded. I don't think it's that stupid to do that. Andreas, thank you very much, my friend. Good to see you. Everyone smash the like button. All of you are here. The least you could do is just hit the likes. I would appreciate that loads. Okay, good to see you, my friend. Is this a good gaming portfolio? At least 50x, OTK, Mavia, Meta Horse, Naya, and Heroes. I like all of them. OTK has come down significantly, but you guys know when the market flips bullish, is one of the best movers. It moves very aggressively. If you look at it from the 7-day month chart, let's not look at the month chart. From here, from 0.34, it pumped to almost 1 cent. That's a very good move when the market flip bullish. Obviously, when the market gets bearish, is at $1 million in market cap. So of course, it's going to dump. It's a low cap. There's a lot of volatility in these low caps. But this is a good trade. Relio is another good trade. Relio, when the market gets bullish, always bounces aggressively. This is another good trade. Like I said, 2x from the lows to up here. Very positive. A few coins that are good for trading is Ondosu, Rio, and OTK. But I wouldn't put too much on OTK just because the lack of volume. You can go heavier on Rio. I do think trading is the best thing to do in the short to medium term. If your bags are packed and you have some USDT on the side, which I always tell people, have some USDT on the side to either trade or build your USDT positions. And then you can just use that profits, wherever you make 2x, 3x, to buy the dips or more and bring your averages down. That's what everyone should do. Have some USDT, do some trades until the market becomes a little bit more certain, or a little bit. These type of events come and go. In a few weeks, people are going to forget about the tariffs. There's going to be some other bullshit, some other event or some, black swan, wherever comes. People are going to forget about the tariffs now once it's completely set in stone. Trump's not going to talk about them unless, other countries start putting on tariffs. Something else is going to happen in the next couple of weeks. Well, it could be recession talks. It could be Bank of Japan. It could be anything. What's your thoughts on vesting off the grid? The vesting looks good. However, anything that Binance touches, I would stay away from at the moment, because what these guys are doing, what Binance is doing, they're allowing Wintermute to manipulate and make a bunch of money off you guys. So, this token, one of the most anticipated gaming coins in the crypto space, launched and just dumped to shits. How is it that coins on other projects, like what's that shit coin called? Walrus. It's not shit, but Walrus launched on Su, and I don't think it's on Binance. Let me just double check. It's not on Binance. And look how well this launched. It did not dump as much as fucking Godzilla did. It dumped barely anything, but recovered fairly fast. So if you look at the chart, it came out 36 cents, had a massive rally, had a correction. I actually traded this, bought like 40 cents, sold at like 55. Quick little move. But anything that launches on Binance is positioned to die in the short term. It's very obvious. How come this project that didn't get listed on Binance, that's just as good as Godzilla, it's a good project. Godzilla is a very good project as well. But because they launched on Binance, and Binance allows Wintermute to completely manipulate them, make money off retail, it goes to shits. This doesn't launch on Binance, does very, very well, pumps, comes down, has a retrace, and now is rallying again. This is the difference between launching on Binance. Binance now is one of the most scammiest exchanges ever. If you guys hold shit on Binance, get it off there. Don't use the platform. A lot of people are now boycotting Binance because it's very obvious what they're doing. I think it was 7 to 8 projects that went down 30 to 40% all at once at the exact same time. One of the ones that I liked was Lumia. Lumia came down 30% out of the blue, out of nowhere. That was all because of the Wintermute bullshit. Look at this, just random drop and then continue to drop, and now I had a little rally. This is what Wintermute does, and Binance together is a very shady exchange. I'll be very careful not to hold shit under. I do indeed like G Swift. Yes, I think G Swift is a good gaming AI coin. I think gaming AI will be a narrative at some point, and I do think G Swift is the best one amongst them. That's well established. Everyone knows about it, and the vesting schedule has improved significantly. There's barely any unlocks for G Swift now, so it makes sense when it comes down slightly more. Maybe grab a bag of it. I do think it's a good project. It's a good DCAing coin. Rallies very well. Had a very good pump. I traded this. Did like almost a 2x. Come down, and now it's going back up slightly. But this is a very good project, I think. For $6 million a market cap, I think is pretty good. About 10%, just over 10% trading volume. Good exchanges already. BitGet, Bybit. They could probably get a Q coin or something, but they have reasonably good exchanges. So I do like G Swift. Yes, smash the likes, indeed. Let's smash the likes. Ross, good to see you, my friend. Steve, good to see you. Scrub, good to see you. What's the opinion? What's your opinion? A better project, OORT versus Tau? I think OORT is better, but I also like your opinion. It's two different projects. You have OORT, which is is supposed to be decentralized AI. So it does the storage side. It does the data hub, the AI side, the AI agent side, but it also wants to do compute. So it wants to provide GPUs, and that's something on their roadmap this year. I don't know when they're going to release it, but all compute is going to be coming out this year at some point. So at some point, OORT will be the complete decentralized AI project that can do pretty much everything. A lot of projects do one specific thing. So IONET does GPU specifically. Aether does GPU specifically. Tau does. They do. I haven't really looked into Tau that deep. Tau is a good project for what they do, but it's hard. You can't really compare the two. They're like two different things. They're both AI, but they're two different things. So if you want more gains and you want more risk, then you have to go with OORT. But if you want a little bit more safety net, Tau is a good one as well. And Tau's not been doing the best lately, and that's because of how bad AI has performed recently. Tau is down. It was actually when it went below $200. So what you're going to see is there's a possibility, a high chance, that Tau could actually come down to like the 130 to 160 level. So there's a high chance that could be a good buying opportunity for Tau. But OORT is one of the most resilient projects. It just doesn't dump. It doesn't dump. It's been holding up fairly well. The last 30 days is down 4%. That's crazy to think. Look at the high cap projects and check what they're down the last 30 days, and look at OORT. No one wants to sell this anymore. It's bottomed out. There's no one there to sell. All the validators are out now. So there's no big unlocks. There's just tiny little unlocks every 5 to 6 days. 2 million tokens, which is fuck all. Most of that does not even get sold. Only a small percentage of it gets sold. But it's up 14%, 15% the last 14 days. But look how well it holds. No one wants to sell this because of what they're doing. It's just consistent updates back to back. And this is what you need to look for your projects. Every single one of our coins is doing this. You want to look for regular AMAs with the community. Sensei does regular AMAs every single week of the updates of what they've done. I've reposted the list of the developments for this year, and it looked really good. 250 monthly active users. So a lot of people utilizing the digital replicas. 200 plus community reach. 100 plus of 10,000 plus digital replicas created. 3 million raised in a public sale. This is another good thing, is a public sale. They raised $3 million. They don't need to sell their own tokens to actually keep the project going. They've got plenty of money on the side. On top of that, they've got hundreds of paying clients. So they're making money off their product. This is what you guys need to look for. Projects that's looking or making money off their projects, because they have no incentive. They don't need to sell their own tokens to keep the project running. A lot of these projects have to do that because they don't generate no revenue. And this is one of the things I personally look for when I buy a project. I look for if these projects are going to generate revenue, because when the market's hype and everything's bullish, it doesn't matter if the project is shit or not. It will pump. Everything will pump. However, you see the real value of these projects when everything dumps, because most of them projects will just disappear. A lot of them will start banks selling their own tokens in mass levels, just to keep the project afloat. But the good ones, they generate revenue with their project. And this is what OORT does. So you're going to see a lot more developments from OORT. They're looking for more developers. So if you guys are a developer and you want to potentially work with Sensei, hit them up, DM them. Go to the Telegram and DM them if you are a developer. They're actively looking for developers. A lot of stuff happening for Sensei. They've done multiple different things. More coming as well. A lot of good things coming for Sensei. This is all the stuff that's going to be happening. They're going to have a new website soon. Telegram app is live now. You can talk to your replicas in Telegram. It's going to be massive. Make a replica of anything you want. I had a Rambo replica in my Telegram. Worked perfectly fine. You could hear the voice sounded just like Rambo. And all we did was put 2 videos of YouTube into the replica, and it picked it up very well. So they have a very good tool. Jay, good to see you, brother. I'm sitting on my hands until we see a clear direction. I think more dumps ahead, eventual pump. I agree with you, my friend. I think we will see a little bit more short-term pain. A lot of it will come from the Bank of Japan raising the interest rates. If everyone expects it, the market will not dump as much. However, if no one expects it, and it just dumps, or they raise rates more than what people think, you're going to see a massive crash like the August crash. So that's something to keep an eye out for. Everyone's jumping on this now. I was jumping on this last year. Most people didn't even know what the Bank of Japan was and why they were so relevant. Now they do. Can markets turn bullish as long as policy Trump remains unpredictable? The market will flip bullish when there's a reason. So one of the biggest reasons the market will flip bullish, in my opinion, in the next couple of months is very clear, is the rate cuts. The rate cuts will always stimulate the market in the short term. Doesn't mean the pumps are going to be sustainable forever. If inflation comes down and they're cutting rates, it's a good sign. They're cutting rates for the right reasons. Inflation, is coming down slowly. Yeah. If unemployment is going up aggressively and they're cutting rates, the market is not going to pump. So you have to look at why they're cutting rates. If they're cutting rates because they're seeing some weakness in the unemployment rate, as long as it's not above 4.5%, when people start screaming recession, it's fine. The market will rally. However, if unemployment's at 5% and they're cutting rates, is emergency rate cuts, which means the market is going to dump because they're scared of a recession happening ASAP. So that's why they're cutting rates. So you have to look at the reason why they're cutting rates. If they're cutting rates because unemployment's okay and holding between, I think their target was 4.3 to 4.4% now to like 2027. So as long as it's within their target between 4% to 4.4%, the Fed is okay. And if inflation's coming down, which clearly is from Trueflation data, the next one is going to be here. So we're over here right now. The next one, next month, it should come in somewhere around these regions. So inflation should be coming lower according to Trueflation. So if that happens, then the Fed has no other option to start cutting rates, and therefore the market will rally because more liquidity will come to the markets. Everyone will get risk on. These guys that are spamming gold right now will sell their gold and get risk on in the short term, or they'll sell some of their gold, take profits, and then get into the, whether it's stocks, whether it's crypto, whichever it is. So that's where you have to look at what the big investors are doing. At the moment, they're sitting on cash. you can see USDT dominance is at high levels. So they're sitting on cash, at least in crypto, or they're either sitting in cash over here or they're going into bonds. That's why the bond market is clearly going down. When this goes down, it means bonds are going up. It means people are locking in the bonds. When this goes up, no one's interested in bonds. So it's kind of like the opposite. Bond market coming down, people are locking in the yield before it continues to go down. So this is I don't know what the fuck this wick was. This wick kind of scared me, but came back down straight away. Does it make sense to buy OORT now? No, prop base. I would buy, but like I said, you have to be responsible with how much you buy right now. Because if I tell you to buy now, and the Bank of Japan raises their rates, there's a chance they will go down another 10-15%. I don't know about OORT. OORT has been holding up fairly well. But even Sensei tends to hold up really well. But NAI could come down. It's down 13% today. It could come down. Same thing with prop base. Prop base can come down. But like I said, it's been holding fairly well as well. It's been doing a lot better than what I anticipated. It's only down 13% the last 30 days. It's only down 13%. Up 7% the last 14 days. But, from the top, it came down a lot. So it depends. If you don't have a position in these at all, then now is a phenomenal buy. I'm not telling you to buy all at once. Buy it slowly. Get like 20. If you don't hold any of these tokens and this is your first position, it's a phenomenal buy. You're getting better entries than 99% of the market. So yes, it is a good time in that sense. But they can always go lower because, Bank of Japan. But I do think before the Bank of Japan raises rates, the market will rally in beforehand and then dump because they want to trap more retail. That's the whole point of the game. So if we see a rally before the Bank of Japan raises rates, it's okay to scalp and then buy back lower. Am I from Kazakhstan? I'm from Afghanistan, my friend, not Kazakhstan. Yo, that's crazy. Do I know what caused the hack? Yeah, I don't know what caused the hack, but a specific wallet got exploited on Based AI. Based AI took a massive dump. It was actually having a good rally. It was building some momentum for a pump, then just got fucking deleted because of the hack. So, I don't know what caused the hack, but I know a top 50 wallet. It wasn't even a top 10, top 20, top 30. It was actually a top 50 to 100 wallet. Approximately 600K got hacked, and the guy was just selling nonstop, and that's what caused that 30% up. 31% chance now. He's gonna fluctuate. I think it will fluctuate more tomorrow. Hype, good to see you as well. Greek, good to see you, my friend. Apparently, Canada wants to. Do I think it's a good idea to stake OORT now 6 months since it's gone? I don't know about 6 months. I think 3 months is more realistic. I think 3 months to be safe. 6 months, you can stake maybe like quarter of your bag or half of your bag in case if we experience some pump, you have some money on the side to sell. I don't think 6 months is realistic because the market, you guys don't understand how quick the market in crypto can shift. It will shift very quick. 1 week it will be bullish. The next week it will be bearish. So, the sentiment will shift rapidly. And you're going to see now you're going to see a lot of people leave crypto. You're going to see mass, capitulation. Everyone's going to be done with crypto. And you'll notice it. It's very obvious. You'll notice it in YouTubers' views. Every single YouTuber now will have less views than they had 3 months ago. I used to have like almost 200 to 300 people, 200 people on my lives. Now 70, 80, 100 between those ranges. You're going to see a lot of people leave crypto. Some people just don't want to hold their bags, and then they understand later is a mistake, and then they have to wait 4 years again to see to repeat the same mistakes they made again. It's stupid. What do I think? This is the impact of the news. 40% burn currently in the bearish market. The chance of real bottoms. I do think there's a high chance that alt bottoms in because it is very resilient. It doesn't really want to dump. No one really wants to sell. Will the burn happen all at once according to the vesting schedule and the miners' rewards will be released? I don't know actually. This is a good question because I'm not too sure when, because unless they do it now, which would make sense to do it now. If the miners are worried about FTV to market cap, there's no point waiting for the tokens to be unlocked. I do think they'll probably just move it now. So we're just going to wait for the next step. I'm not too sure at the moment. Do I still have the buy me? Oh, do I still have it? And to get rid of that, bro. Well, buy me a coffee is closed. I found a new one which is called Kofi. There's a higher chance Trump winning Nobel Prize for Peace and Global Economy. Fuck, who gives a shit if he wins a Nobel Prize on that, bro? Do I think the regular BTs? Yeah, I do think so. Yeah, bro, it's already over max bidding because according to 4-year cycle, we should have been mooning in the first quarter of this year. We should have been mooning. We should have been, Ethereum up 30% on average, 20% on average in January. So far, Ethereum's down 30% on average. For the quarter, it's down like 30-40%. So the 4-year cycle is destroyed. It's finished. And that's because of TradFi in the market. And that's because of it's like, look how stupid this is, bro. How does any of this stuff affect crypto? It doesn't. But because we have so much institutions, in Bitcoin, they sell Bitcoin. Everyone panic sells. They bid it up. Everyone FOMOs back in. So it's all institutional manipulation. How the fuck does tariffs, affect? There's no tariffs on Bitcoin. Not a single tariff has been put on Bitcoin. Why is Bitcoin going down? It shouldn't. The stock market deserves to go down because a lot of these companies now have to either pay more money. The Magnificent Seven, all these stocks, now their business will be affected. How the fuck does it affect Bitcoin and your low cap or our low cap altcoins? It does not affect it in any regard, but it goes down. And that's all because of institutional investors in crypto. The TradFi fuckers are in crypto, and what they do is they just trade the news. This is what they do. This is what the stock market is. They trade the news, and that's what they're doing in crypto now. So yes, there's some benefits. We had that massive pump with the ETFs, but you're seeing the drawdowns of the fucking institutional TradFi investors in crypto right now as we speak. They're just manipulating left, right, and center because they can move Bitcoin. Bitcoin does not need a lot of volume compared to like the whole crypto market. It's probably like 20% of one of the big stocks in crypto. I mean, in the S&P. Just the whole crypto market is like 10%, 5%, 20%, whatever, of one stock in the S&P 500. That's how much that you can move crypto very easily. So when these big fuckers, TradFi investors come in, they can shoot the price up and down quickly, but they don't because they get it over the counter. Eventually, when over the counter shit runs out, they're gonna have to buy in the exchanges, which will happen at some point. I would wait for the retest, my friend. Unless you're doing small DCAs, I think we're gonna continue in the downtrend until a major crypto. I don't think it needs a crypto catalyst. I just think we need a macro catalyst like a rate cut. I do agree with you though, James. When QE, fuck no, I don't think we get a QE anytime soon, bro. Unless everything goes really to shit, bro, then QE won't come. Unless some black swan event happens. Trust, good to see you, bro. What do I think? AI Tech's been fucking destroyed, bro. I don't know what the fuck's happening with that project. AI Tech's been getting raped, bro. If you're gonna convert anything to anything, convert it to USDT, my friend. That's what I would convert it to. But it doesn't really make sense to sell this project now. You rather just ride it out, bro. I'm riding it out. I'm pretty much fucking broke even on this now. But I took a lot of profits on this. I probably will buy more on this actually because it's at a very good level. Like I said, just wait. This could easily go to 2 cents easily. But like I said, I would wait. Capo is bullish again. Fuck's sakes. Walaikum salam, my friend. Hope you're doing good. Inverted yields got uninverted again. Does that mean recession's further away? Normally, before you experience a black swan event, you start seeing the yields explode up. That's what you're seeing. We're not seeing that now. We're seeing the yields go down. So the 3 months and the 10-year already uninverted, they're inverted again, sorry, which is good. You want them to get inverted, not uninverted. When they get uninverted, it means the recession chances go up. When they get inverted again, it means the recession chances go down, my friend. So it's the opposite of what you're saying. When you see the yield curves fly up 3 months, 10 years to 2 months, 3 months, or 2 years, 10 years to 10 years explode up in an aggressive manner in a short period of time, just all that's happening is you're going to see some black swan event happening very soon. You have like 2 to 3 days, approximately 2 to 3 days before some major catalyst happens. So if we've seen the bond market and explode up, it's not a good sign. And I don't think they've exploded up, but they have gone up in an aggressive manner. So the market is de-risking aggressively right now, which is not a good sign. Hair looking bullish, bro. Hair has to be bullish, bro. I have to be bullish. When the market is bearish, my hair looks bullish. When the market is bullish, my hair looks bearish. Yes, this is a setup for a super cycle indeed. You have to see some crazy pain in the short term in order to get that super cycle that everyone wants. You have to see it only makes sense. When everything's going down, everyone's shit in the bed, everyone's calling for recessions, everyone's calling for a landing. When that happens, you get a super cycle because you get closer to QE. So it could be a case where we get end of QT, we see a nice rally in the markets, then we cool off. Maybe a recession announcement happens. We go 6 to 8 months to a year in a recession, and then once the recession ends, the Fed is ready to start printing their way out. And then guess what happens? But then we get a super cycle. We could get a case where, let's say BTC goes to 200k, corrects down to 120, and then rallies up to like 400k. That's a possibility. This is Trump's goal long term. That's what he wants to do. You're going to see some short-term pain in that process. So this is the area I'm looking for BTC. This is a good area. Hopefully it comes down maybe here or whatever, and then wicks back up. I think Trump does not give any damn about a recession. He cannot be re-elected anymore. He does not care. He can get re-elected. Of course he can. Why can't he not get re-elected? You can stay in office for up to 10 years. So yes, he can. He can have one more term. I don't think it was prop base. It was prop chain. It was prop chain, not prop base. TET is still around. They're still developing. So, I don't really, I don't recommend people buying that shit anymore. But if you hold it, just hold it. They're still developing. They're still around. I don't think that guy that the CEO is still optimistic about his project. He's not going to abandon it. So, it doesn't really make sense to sell it now. It's pointless, especially if they're not going to rug. Is there any June, July bearish months? Sell in May and go away? No, I don't think that's valid. I think that selling May stuff, like, why are you going to sell your crumbs? You're going to sell crumbs for what? It's pointless. Just ride it out now, bro. Like, if you sell now, unless the only time it makes sense to sell is if we go into a bear market, because yes, you guys might think these are crazy discounts. In a bear market, shit will go down 99% on top of them, whatever is down now. It could go down an extra 90%. So unless we go into bear market, yes, it makes sense to sell now. If you can get, let's say you got 10k, 20k left, whatever, of your portfolio. If you can realistically get your 20k out and then get everything 90% lower, just off that 20k, you can make a shit ton of money because you're getting way more tokens. It doesn't matter about how much money you have, the value of your money. What I care about is the amount of tokens you can get for a set amount of value. That's how you should think. If you buy in, let's say BTC up here, or BTC is not a prime example. Let's say you're buying a token, over here, and you thought this is a massive discount from here. If you can get it down here, even you'll get way more tokens for the same amount of money over here than you could have here. You would get double, if not triple, the same amount. You got 1K here, and you want to sell that 1K. It was worth 4K here, but it's worth 1K now. But over here, it gives you 100K tokens. But down here, it gives you 400K tokens for that 1K. It makes sense to sell it and buy back lower because you get way more tokens. You know what I'm saying? So, and then eventually it will shoot back up, and then your 400K tokens you'll make your money back a lot quicker. So that's the only time it makes sense to sell if for crumbs, if we're entering a bear market, which I don't think we are. The way things are going, I don't think it's too optimistic. No, I think it's very possible. I'm late to the stream. We'll go start. What's my thoughts on Injective? I'm actually a big fan of Injective. The on-chain activity has gone up massively. Let me just check DeFi Llama 1 second. Because the on-chain stuff has shot up aggressively recently, and that's because of the RWA stuff. 31 million locked. That's terrible, bro. DEX volume, pretty decent. Injective price, market cap. Damn, that's low, that is. But the on-chain activity was pretty good. Inch volume, let's have a look. Yeah, volume's ass. Bridge TVL, let's have a look. Pretty decent, not the best. Something on them was doing really well because of they keep adding stocks on chain, so you can leverage some of these stocks. McDonald's, Tesla, and all these ones would leverage. So that brought a lot of on-chain activity for Injective. I still think Injective is a good project, yes, but I wouldn't buy it now. It's very likely it will go a bit lower. Is Tectum dead? It's not dead because they're still developing. If you look at price action, it indeed is dead. But every single project in the crypto space right now is dead in terms of price action. So I don't really look at price action as a valid indicator for what if a project dead or not. I just tend to look at development, and they are still developing. So I don't really class it as dead now. If your project is posting once every fucking 3 weeks or 2 weeks, that project is dead, bro. They're just posting for the sake of cash cow. That's it. They're just posting something to keep the community happy and not sell their bags while they continuously slowly sell. So as long as your project's developing, forming partnerships, updating their fucking layer 1 or whatever tech they have, as long as they're fixing it and improving it, the project cannot be dead. So I don't think it's dead, no. But if price action wise, it is indeed dead, yes. The golden age of America, guys. The golden age of America. This is a great golden age. I'm going to be live a lot more now. A lot more videos, a lot more. I'm going to be very active on the YouTube because I've realized recently my YouTube channel has been kind of stagnant. And I do live streams here and there. Obviously, the last month it was Ramadan, so it was quite difficult. However, my YouTube channel has not been growing much, and one of the main reasons is because I don't post more videos, and you don't really get too much attraction in 1 hour videos because most people, unless they subscribe to you, they're not going to watch your live streams. Most people don't want to watch an hour live stream of someone they've never heard of, because when I see an hour live stream, 9 times out of 10, I don't even click on it. However, if you see 5 minutes, 10-minute videos, people like that stuff because everyone has short attention span now. So it makes sense to make more videos in order for a channel to grow. And you've seen that a lot. I've seen a lot of YouTubers make more videos and they get way more subs. If you just only do live streams like I do, the channel is not going to be, it's not going to go as fast. It's going to be stagnant, but it's good for the people that watch me because they get a live question, a Q&A. Do you agree with Rand Crypto? He has insiders saying we won't be crazy rally until. I do think so, yeah. I think any pump we get in the short term, just trade it. So if you buy a bunch today and tomorrow or the next week, and you want to sell it, and we have a decent pump, 20, 30, 40, 50% across the board, take some profits, buy back lower and bring your averages down with your profits. That's the best way to do it. Liberation Day, folks. I would wait till the end of the month. Unless you want to buy now for trades, then it's fine. It's fine. Fantastical, good to see you. Rich, good to see you. Andy, good to see you, buddy. Could BLJ raise sooner than July? No, they're supposed to raise this month, my friend. They're supposed to raise this month. End of the month, look. March the 26th, BOJ vows to raise rates if inflationary pressure broadens. So this month, when we get their data on the inflation numbers, which we will get this month, if it comes in cooler, then the chances of them raising is not as high. However, if it comes in higher than the previous or the current, because you got to look what he says. BOJ vows to raise rates if inflationary pressure broadens. So they're okay with the current. If it goes higher than what it is today, then yes, the chances of them raising rates will go up significantly. So we have to wait for the start of this month. Wait for the start of this month. I mean, the start of this month when they get the data. Wait to see what it is, and then we will know if they will raise rates or not. You should replace the buy me a coffee link in your video. I will replace that. Yeah, that's dead. How much trust the seemingly global M2 prediction? I don't really have too much trust into it. A lot of people use the wrong one. You have to use the index, the global M2 index with all the central banks, of their balance sheet. If their balance sheet increases of other central banks, risk assets go higher. And a lot of people use the M2, normal M2. That doesn't matter. That goes up all the time. That doesn't mean Bitcoin is going to follow it. It's just a lot of people that don't understand anything. That's what they do. But have I heard of AI layer? I've not heard of AI layer. No. Let's have a look. 28%. This looks like a fucking rug pull, bro. What the fuck is this? BNB chain. I don't like anything on the Binance chain, bro. Fuck the Binance chain. The ultimate AI modular Bitcoin. Yeah, this is a dead project, bro. Anything to do with BRC20 now is dead. So don't buy anything BRC20 is fucking done. Yes, AI tech is still. I mean, I listened to the AMA today. They said they've pretty much secured a Binance listing. It's all about the timing for them. So when the timing gets right, they'll get on Binance ASAP. But I don't know, man. Binance is pissing me. Like, Binance is so shady that I don't even want any tokens to list on Binance. I'd rather list somewhere else, like some fucking KuCoin, Bybit. You'd rather list on those than Binance, because Binance is every token that's listed on Binance just goes to shits. Every single one of them. Name a token that has listed on Binance and has done well. There's not a single one. Most of them in the last 3 months, 4 months have all gone to shits. And they don't just go to shit slowly, they go to shits in a very fast, very fast manner. Look at Gunzilla, one of the most anticipated gaming coins in the entire space, just fucking died. At least I would have expected Gunzilla to at least pump 2x before dying, but he didn't. And I explained to you guys why, because of Binance and the fucking Wintermute. They rape any coin that comes out to make a bit of money off retail. And he's so good to see you as well. Only 60 likes. Damn, that's disrespectful. That is. Do I think AI takes a good investment? Are you holding? I'm still very bullish on Sensei. I am still bullish on AI tech. I'm bullish on all my projects apart from tech term. That's it. Plum's buy action is insanely strong. Rocket fuel turbulence ahead. IOE 10. What do you think? I wouldn't buy it. I think Plum has more downside than upside. That's what I think. I think it's been holding really strong because They bang out a new partnership every single day. So people don't want to sell because as long as you keep the community updated, they have no reason to sell. And because this recently got a Binance Labs listing, I mean not a listing, sorry, a Binance Labs backing, at some point it will get listed on Binance, which I don't know how much good that is for the project, but this will get listed on Binance. CZ backs them now. It's very likely that just wait for the next unlock. If the unlocks don't affect it, despite this crazy bearish market, then it's okay to buy because the unlocks clearly don't affect it. The volume's pretty good, 78 million. AXBT partner with Plume recently. I think they really like AGI. In the bio says CMO my retarded. AIXBT AGI is I think AGI will be the next hype. So AIXBT, I think AIXBT. That's why I'm still holding my AGI back because I do think AGI will have a very good pump at some point. I think the AI agent narrative will come back strong, very strong. Metacade or Myriad, definitely Metacade, bro. Plum fundamentally very good. When are you planning to grab a bag? Do you think we'll start accumulating at the low? I would not be buying Plume. I'll be buying Plume next cycle, definitely. However, I would only be trading Plume. I'm not going to hold it long term now. It's pointless. Because in the bear market, it's just going to die like everything else. So when it enters the bear market, 100% going to be buying Plume, bro. We're going to be buying IONET. I think DPN will still be big next cycle. I think AI will still be big next cycle. I think RWA will get even bigger next cycle. And, there's going to be specific AI sectors that I'll be buying, not the whole AI coin. Because a lot of them are just going to be dead and not needed. Like anything to do with LLMs, I don't want to be buying them. Basic LLMs is just dead. Too many of them. Everyone does them now. It's about catching the next trend in AI rather than, I think AI agents didn't really get a crazy pump apart from a few. I still think AGI will come back. Or AIXBT, not AIBT. AIXBT, let's see. AIXBT. This right here by Virtuos. Bro, fuck this. This is $1 million in market cap, bro. Who the fuck cares about this? Yeah, I'm not buying this shit. What the fuck even is this? Nah, bro. That's not it. I remember you accumulated a lot in the summer, like I did. Did you? So I sold a lot in March, bro. Sold a lot. It's like, bro, this is what confuses me. Anyone that bought in the summer when everything was pennies on the dollar and everything was dead, and we could get the same thing now. It's like people don't realize when you accumulate when everything is dead, in a few months you will be rewarded. It's very simple. If you bought during the FTX crash, you would have made hundreds of X's. If you bought during the summer 2023, not 2024, summer 2023, you would have made a shit ton of money in early 2024. If you bought some, in summer 2024, you could have made a little bit of money, not crazy, because we didn't really pump for like 2-3 weeks. That's it, realistically. No, I did. I only sold specific things and just took some initials out back in November, December time. That's it. But in terms of selling, I just held most of the things, to be honest. I held almost everything. I didn't see the incentives of selling because it's like barely anything pumped. Like I didn't buy these tokens, these low caps for 3x or 2x, or I think my portfolio for everything I bought for the summer was up like 3x max. So it's just like in 2023 to 2024, my portfolio was up 40, 50, or 30 to 50x between that region. So it did not make sense to sell something for 3x, 2.5x. Like we did not buy altcoins for 2 to 3x. So of course I didn't sell much. I didn't really sell anything realistically. It didn't make sense to sell. If I was in high caps, getting a 2 to 3x, I would have been happy. But when I went in low caps, altcoins, it did not make sense to sell that early. So yeah, I pretty much held everything, and the reason I held everything is because I always have cash ready to buy the dips, and just shit keep going lower, lower, lower. So I just didn't really buy anything. Like I'll buy $30 here, $50 there. That's about it. I'm still waiting to buy heavy. Like what? That's how I DCA. That's how everyone should learn the DCA. And I've said this multiple times. You buy slowly, 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 $30, $20 here, because when the market gets bullish, you might think my $30 has gone down 50%. Now, in 4 to 5 months' time when everything pumps, you're not gonna care if you bought, let's say this project right here, right? Zoom out. It's not a good example. Let's go on the AGI chart, for example. Let's just go on the AGI chart. That's a good example, right? If you was buying here, or you was buying here, or you was buying here, you didn't care when it was up here. You would have been in massive profits. So this is the whole point of DCA. If you was buying at 4 cents, 3 cents, 4.5, 2 cents, 1 cent, whatever it was, it didn't matter, because when it went up here, you would have made crazy amounts of money. This is the art of DCA, but there's only one level you should buy heavy. It made sense to buy heavier here because it held this region for over a month. It held from October all the way to November. And what what do I always tell you guys? I say, don't catch falling knives unless you're only DCAing tiny amounts. The only time you buy heavy is even if you get it 10-15% higher, it doesn't matter, because when it goes up here, you're not going to care too much if you bought here or here. It'll make a lower difference. Of course, you could have made an extra 2 to 3x, but that's just greedy. If you want to catch the exact bottom, you're just going to be greedy. You're going to miss the boat on a lot. So if you bought $30, $50 here, and you bought heavier here or here, you would have made crazy amounts of money. So this is, a lot of people kind of buy and then they sell if it goes down 5-10%. That's just pussy, because what you're doing is you're conditioning your brain as an investor to panic sell. It's stupid. I know a lot of people do this. They'll buy over here, you'll have a bounce, and then as soon as it goes break even, because you don't sell at these little bounces here. Let's say, for example, here, right? You've bought here at 2 cents, it valued to 4 cents, and then now it's back at your level. You start selling it. How stupid is that? Because all you're doing is you're conditioning your brain to panic sell when shit goes down. So you DCA tiny amounts. When it goes here and it holds a price for at least a month, then you can afford to buy heavier. And then when it really goes up, you're not going to care if you bought a 1.5 or 2 cents. Doesn't make a difference. Fuck all difference. So this is how you're supposed to DCA. You have to DCA accordingly and smartly. It literally does not matter if you buy, here. When it goes up here, you're in massive profits. But there's only one level you should buy heavy, and that's the level that if it holds a certain amount of, let's say, a certain price action for at least a month, then it makes sense to buy heavy there. But that all depends on market conditions as well. Dyson, good to see you as well, my friend. I agree, good to see you, my friend. This is the art of fucking altcoins, bro. It's not a pretty game, but you can make crazy amounts of money in a very short period of time. I mean, most of you seen it. November, December, people were making stupid amounts of money in the space of 1 month. That's how quick sentiment will shift in crypto. That's why you buy. As long as everything's not going to shit and you're not buying the fucking bear market, a small rally in the bear market, it's okay. I don't think we're going into bear market at the moment. Not at the moment. It's unlikely. It's just a lot of uncertainty right now. We're having a short-term contraction in the economy, and that's it. Yeah, I think everyone, including myself, everyone thought when Trump comes into office, it's going to be so good for crypto, because when someone comes in for the past, ever since Bitcoin's been around, we've never ever had a pro Bitcoin president. So of course it made sense for everyone to be excited for when he comes in. Now he has done some crazy things for crypto. It just goes unnoticed because of price action. That's it. Because of tariffs, because of other bullshit, the macro stuff that's happening. The good stuff goes unnoticed. Trump has brought in stablecoin regulations, which is massive. Now with these regulations actually happening, what you're going to see is you're going to see Web3 giants now accept USDT and USDC as payments. So now your USDC or your crypto can actually be used in the real world, which brings it a lot more value for institutions, for the average person to look at it as a little bit more of a legit thing. I think most 90% of people think crypto is a scam. I think it's like 7 or 8%, 6% of the world that's actually invested into crypto. Probably gone way lower now, but majority of the world think crypto is a scam. So when you get these regulations from the biggest economy in the world, it brings a lot more clarity for institutions and for retail investors. More tier list, G. People love the tier list. Yeah, people do love the tier list. I'm gonna make an all-around new tier list because, like, tier list is like it changes all the time. It's like once upon a time, a certain project would have been this much X's, but now it's come down even more, so it's worth even more X's. And then I don't know if shit goes down again, it will be worth even more X's. So yeah. I think a good way to grow your channel would be a deep dive into your picks or explaining why you're bullish, partnerships, tokenomics, creating FOMO in retail. Yeah, I am going to make a new video on or probably after this live stream. And I'm going to get off this live stream now anyway. So 1 hour, 25 minutes is enough. I'll probably make a new OORT video in the next couple of days, explaining all the recent developments, explaining the tokenomics, explaining certain aspects that some people do tend to, I still see people in my comments saying OORT has terrible tokenomics. It's like I've explained this a million times, but then that guy didn't even know what tokenomics meant. So you are gonna get some idiots in there, but it's fine. New people in crypto, they don't understand it, and they look at it as a bad thing or a good thing, whatever it is. I will make a new video on OORT. I probably will do another AMA with Dan, Sensei CEO. I'll try get the prop based CEO for an AMA. I think he probably will be down. I definitely can get the. If you guys want the Bricken AMA, let me know because I'm quite cool with the Bricken CEO, and he's actually a cool guy. So if you guys want the Bricken CEO, let me know for an AMA. I can definitely do that as well. There's quite a few CEOs that I can bring for an AMA, and Bricken's one of them. Like Bricken, I've been supporting Bricken since the day they came out. Proper video effects too, my guy. That one's a bit sticky. That was a bit tricky, that one, because I don't really know how to do that. I can probably try to do it. I'll probably just get someone to do it for me. I think I need to get like an editor, bro. But anyways, guys, appreciate all of you for coming down. I will be live regularly. Carrot worth after unlocks. Yes, I think carrot's worth after unlocks. I wouldn't expand too much into gaming. I think you should have 3 gaming projects. Pick a high cap one, a mid cap, a high cap. Pick, and then pick 2 low caps. That's what I would do. You want to take the risk with gaming because gaming is so dead. Why take a risk on a high cap? You want to take more risk on low caps, and then you can make way more money rather than taking on mid caps, which they're not going to do that much exit. So have 1 high cap or mid cap, whatever, and then have 2 low caps. That's what I would do. Maybe have Beam. If Beam's too high for you, have Naka. I think Naka will do well. Regular updates, continuously developing. Naka's a good pick. And then for the degens, 2 degens, go for OTK. OTK has now become a $1.8 million market cap, which is fucking tiny. And then go for Immunity as a very degen one. For some reason, I feel like Naka could be this cycle's XCM. If you look at Naka, despite the price action, go look at the Twitter and go look at the developments. Is non-stop developing every single day, 3-4 times a day. They'll post something bullish. It's phenomenal how much work the project actually does compared to what the price action is. It's a very, very good project in my opinion. We just need content, bro. I'll do the timestamps. Oh, Ross, I would appreciate that if you could do the timestamps, bro. Timestamps would be amazing. But anyways, guys, appreciate all of you guys for coming down today. We will be live again, most likely either tomorrow, if not definitely Sunday. In between, just expect more videos, tier list videos, alt videos, sensei video, whatever it is. I will make top 3, top 5 coins, explain recent developments, etc. That's it. Make sure the bricking guy turns up. He's actually one that actually turns up. He's actually he's quite good. He's quite organized. He's quite organized. Last time he fucking bailed because he had to go to some event. It's fine. If you copy the timestamp description, I believe they get embedded in the video. Really? That's even better. Then I'll probably do that. That's even better. Appreciate that, Ivo, bro. Appreciate that, guys. See you guys in the next couple of days. Just keep your eyes out for the videos. Thank you all very much. See you guys soon.